Over the weekend, Hillary Clinton said this about abortion.
When or if does an unborn child have constitutional rights?
Well, under our laws currently, that is not something that exists. The unborn person doesn't have constitutional rights. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't do everything we possibly can in the vast majority of instances to, help a mother who is carrying a child and wants to make sure that child will be healthy.
So the unborn person description has raised some controversy. Roe v. Wade says that unborn are not persons, right?
They do, but even if you believe that, you could still rule that even though it may not be a person, say in the first week or two of life, later on it acquires the characteristics of a person enough to deserve the protection of the state. You can argue that a 48-cell blastocyst at the beginning does not have the valence, the value, and the protection of the state, but that you have an 8-month-old fetus, 8 months, 3 weeks, let's say, in partial birth abortion, and even though you may not say that it is the equivalent of a person, it surely is close enough that you don't treat it like an appendix, like a piece of tissue.
The unborn person description seems to be accurate no matter what, because that person is going to be born, unless the pregnancy is interrupted violently. Yeah. And so you're quibbling. But the anger from the abortionists, the pro-abortion people, about Hillary Clinton saying unborn, that's what ignited this whole thing.
Well, that's true. For her, given her beliefs, her advocacies, and her constituency, that is a huge slip. I do think it's a slip. She was responding to a question. In the question, you heard the word unborn child. So she was just sort of repeating that without reflecting how that offends her constituency. But I think it does reflect something larger, that even the people who are pro-choice, they are queasy. They know, perhaps they're not bothered by early abortions, but surely they know that, say, third trimester.
They don't care. Not all of them. But the Planned Parenthood lobbyists and the real militants couldn't care less.
I'm talking about ordinary Americans.
Let me ask you, because
who may be pro-choice, they may have qualms.
Ordinary
and that's
Americans who don't have an agenda, I agree. Now, you're a secularist, okay? But where is it in the Constitution that if you are a religious person, no matter what faith, and you believe that upon conception, there is a soul, all right, that is in the cell mass, as you put it. And that soul, to you, all right, is something that has to be protected, all right? All life is sacred, Judeo-Christian tradition. Where is it in the Constitution that the government can then abuse that philosophy and say no, and give animals more protection than the unborn? Where is that?
The Constitution doesn't have anything to say about the personhood of an unborn child. That's the mistake of Roe v. Wade. Yeah. We should never have tampered and made this a constitutional issue. Even Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, long before she went up on the court, that Roe interrupted the natural progression, the changes that were happening in the country, you remember and I do, that state after state where they were liberalizing their laws to accommodate the mixed belief of a country that cannot decide the issue decisively or not about the ensoulment, if you like, of a 2-week-old blastocyst. So as long as you have a country divided on that, that's a fundamental question of belief. What you do in a rational democracy, just about every other in the West, you work it out through the politics of it. State by state, you have the arguments, and then the loser in the debate at least has a sense that he had a shot, that he had a legitimate input.
I agree that it should be reflection of the community values.
So when you ask me what does the Constitution say, the answer is it says nothing.
All right. But I think the founders would be shocked that animals get more protection than the unborn in this country. Charles KRAUTHAMMER.